within the self, we are talking about 4 major terrains, spiritual terrains. We're talking about the space of the light of eternity, where it emanates in its infinite, indefinable essence and filters into the tears of creation, where all creativity takes root. So when an individual runs into what I call a knot of consciousness, a source of struggle, where things are not as smooth, a spiritually dynamic individual wants to detect it right at the creative source, at the source of creative inspiration, and use love's comb to untie that knot before it filters into the dimension of formation, of ideas. So once it filters into the formation of ideas, the spiritual tier of ideas, the spiritual tier of ideas is a space within the celestial world that you would call the angelic realms. You have both positive and the opposite energies, all co-creating to feed forth the archetypes, the energies, and the verb, the pulse of creation. In that space, in the space of formation of ideas, in that space, the ideas have already taken a stronger root. They're more stubborn, more difficult to untie. And so the comb of love has to be that much stronger to untie those knots. That love cannot just simply be fourth density love, of reactionary love. It can't just be a free love, a fifth density, but it must be a dedicated love. A love that has no polarity. A love that does not have an other. A love that loves the unknown as much as it loves the known. A love that recognizes the poignancy of the light and is grateful for the dark for teaching the nature of the music of the light so well from the perspective of the opposite. And that comb can straighten the knots of thought. If that knot of thought is able to go untangled, if that knot of thought is able to go tangled straight into the world of actuality, in the tears of actuality, then it will manifest in action. It will manifest in action in one's life and in one's circle. And I say to individuals that are beginning just to awaken, to becoming spiritually dynamic, to stop that wrinkle, to stop that knot, the space of action is akin to stopping a freight train with a water gun. It is very difficult. And to do so, one must enter into a master state of love, where the word love is simply inadequate for the emotion of ecstatic connectivity to the source of all things, both known and unknown, in order to address the tension and redirect it to its source. And so in that space, that knot takes root most times in an action. That action causes either a effect of survival, of fight and flight, that demands retaliatory reaction, or imprisons a person with a deep feeling of abandonment and disconnect. So in that space, the individual must access their true self with the help of the inner child to enter a verve of renewal and wonder. And enter into a space of sovereignty, of disconnectivity from the drama enough to find gratitude for what has befallen, for the lesson that has been taught, whether the lesson was taught through intimacy or the lesson was taught through the opposite. So many people have a predisposition to learning from the darkness, learning from the unknown. So we all know that love is always more romantic in the dark. Individuals have a predisposition to entering into space of polarities, a space of darkness, of disconnect, because the reunion is that much more poignant and passionate. It feels that much more real, although it isn't more real, but the contrast makes it feel more real. We know within cuisine, the sensual side of the human being is a predisposition to contrasts. It likes sweet and sour, hot with cold. And so from this space, the individual has to find a heightened gratitude for all that has befallen. Forgiveness will not free a person to sovereignty. Forgiveness will simply sweep it under the carpet. An individual must ascend to a space of recognizing that they are a lens, and every experience that befalls them is designed to polish that lens to greater clarity, to greater intimate awareness of all the variables and all its expressions throughout all of existence. And in that space, they recognize that whatever has befallen them has brought them in closer contact with an aspect of the divine they were not aware of, or that they had not intimately engaged. Now they can expand to embrace that chord as well. For the Creator pours forth through you, is beckoning always for greater recognition. For it's only through a deep recognition that one can truly love. Through a deep knowing, eye to eye. Individuals that enter into fourth density consciousness and transcend it through deep expressions of love and yearning, embracing heart's cadence of harmony that resonates in the worlds above, plant these seeds to broadcast and embrace each languishing wrinkle of the soul on this earthly plane, raise a collective consciousness to a more harmonic unity. This individual this individual will invite within themselves the wrinkles that exist within the individuals in their surrounding circle. And they will actively engage these knots, hopefully in a space of creativity, but if not, with a stronger comb, in the space of thought. And if that's not possible, then through lessons of forgiveness in the world of action. And through these lessons, the individual will unknot the bonds of those within their circle and vicinity, so those individuals can get greater proximity to their song of truth, and recognizing its divinity and the magnitude and poignancy of what has been imparted to them. And individuals that have actualized that expression and have entered into expression of 6D, to where they cannot see the border between them and the Almighty, where those lines are blurred like a watercolor that bleeds one into the other. This individual will feel a deep, deep current pouring forth through them that they will call God. And that current is their future actualized self, what we call the higher self, pouring forth its intuition, its language, in only a language that you can understand because it is you. But it is you from a future space and a future time, sending forth to you understanding and compassion, expressing to you, I know where you are and it's okay because I am here. And I learned from it, and it was a poignant lesson, and what you're going through is so relevant and so necessary for what I shall become. And in that space, in that sovereignty, in that expression of dedication, the individual will be dedicated to the light that is broadcasting within all of existence and all tiers of existence. And they will summon forth the knots that are tied, not within this space, and within this earthly consciousness, but in worlds beyond. Help impart their truth to angelic realms and other realms that are far beyond, and impart their harmony, their healing, and their truth in those spaces. So that as above, so below, the world will no longer need to learn from lessons of without. That is how color a world anew.
Ram Ram Sita Ram 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 Sita Ram Sita Ram Sita Ram 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 Sita Ram. Sita Ram